Welcome in. I'm Sam Mendelsohn, joined to you with Shawn on my right and Sam Cucuzzella and Tyler Smith on my left. So everybody loves to praise the heroes of sports, but today we're going to talk about the villains. So Shawn, you want to dive right in?
Yeah, of course. So when we come to the bust, man, now we can argue and debate when it comes to NFL busts with names like Johnny Manziel, Jamarcus Russell, Achilles Smith, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, etc. Man, the list can go on. But in my opinion, man, the G-Boat, the greatest bust of all time, it gotta be Ryan Leaf. Like, come on, man. His rookie season threw for 2 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, and went 4-17 as a starter in total. And in 14 touchdowns, 36 interceptions throughout his whole career. And he only lasted for 3 seasons, 2 years with the Chargers and 1 with the Cowboys. How ironic. He was picked second overall behind considerably one of the greatest quarterbacks to play the game, Peyton Manning. And there were even discussions being said that Ryan Leaf will have a better career than Manning due to him having such a strong college career. He led his school, Washington State University, to the Rose Bowl his junior year, averaged 330 yards per game, and completed a conference record-breaking 33 touchdowns, was even named the Pac-10 Offensive Player of the Year, and he was even a part of the all-conference team.
So I'm going to dive into the NBA. I'm going to take you guys to the 2003 NBA draft. Detroit Pistons were picking second overall. In that draft, there was 5 guys taken in the top 5. 4 of them became Hall of Famers. Of course, the Pistons are going to Piston, and the guy they take didn't become a Hall of Famer. They drafted Darko Milicic. He only played 96 games with the Pistons. In his career, he averaged 2.8 points, I think 0.6 rebounds. It was terrible. And what they did was they missed out on a potential dynasty by not drafting Carmelo Anthony. I mean, they won a championship that year. That's why it's not talked about much by the biggest bust of all time. And between 2004 and 2009, they made it to 2 NBA Finals, 1 ring, and made it to the ECF every season. So in my opinion, it's one of the biggest what-ifs in NBA history. I mean, if they drafted Carmelo Anthony, you could be looking at a dynasty with 3 to 4 potential rings.
Yeah, I mean, for the MLB, the draft is kind of a crapshoot. You have multiple picks that never even reach the majors. And I was tempted to go with one of them. However, a lot of those guys were injured and had other reasons why they failed. However, the pick I chose to go with is Brian Bullington, the number 1 pick of the 2002 draft by the Pittsburgh Pirates. This was the quintessential Pittsburgh Pirates pick of that era. A guy who wasn't necessarily the biggest talent in the draft, but who could save the owner a couple bucks. Bob Nutting is the cheapest owner in all of professional sports. He would rather sell his child than pay premium money to a free agent. He's terrible. And this pick is proof of it. He went 1-9 with a 5.62 ERA in his career, Bullington did. And the only reason he was picked so high was because he knew that he wouldn't cost money. That's the problem with the Pirates, and that's something that's going to continue to plague them as long as Nutting's owner. The cheapness and the willingness to pass up on talents like Prince Fielder because they want to take someone cheap like Bullington. So that's why he's the biggest bust in my opinion, but it's entirely because of the Pirates.
All right, I'm going to shoot it on over to the NHL. So I'm going to take us back a little while. I'm going to go back to the 2012 draft. The Edmonton Oilers had the first overall pick. Now, the Edmonton Oilers at this time weren't that great of a team. They had the first overall pick. The 2 years prior, they still needed a big offensive weapon. They decided to go with Nail Yakupov first overall. Now, at first glance, this might be a good pick. He had 170 points in about 103 games in juniors, which is great numbers for a junior player. However, when he came to the league, he never really played more than over 6 seasons. In his rookie season, he had 31 points, which is pretty good in 48 games. It was a shortened season. However, as I said, he never made it more than 6 seasons and never eclipsed more than 33 points. What's worse about this pick is that the Oilers really had needed a goalie for the better part of 10 years. And in this draft later on was 2-time Stanley Cup champion and Vezina winner Andrei Vasilevskiy, who we've seen win 2 cups with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, it's easy to call someone a bust just because of their poor career and points per game, but just the guys that they passed up, like Andrei Vasilevskiy, guys like Morgan Riley, who could have really solidified that back end for these 10 years, really could have helped. And they really had no one else. They put all their chips into Nail Yakupov. He had a poor interview. He was interviewing with Toronto scouts. Immediately, he didn't hit it off well. He almost got in a physical fight with Toronto scouts. That should have been red flag number 1 for the Oilers. Obviously, it didn't go the way they wanted it to, but, I mean, he's going to go down as one of the biggest busts.
Has to.
I mean, you can say guys like Rick DiPietro who have had more injury-ridden careers, but, I mean, regardless, the Oilers missed. They got McDavid later on in the career, which is great, but we love talking about sports here. Obviously, these guys are busted their season, but what we love even more is talking about sports.